us about your yes vote and what you expect to come next in terms of timing from the FDA.
And I think what we were asked was, is there enough information to say that we feel that the benefits of this vaccine outweigh what at the moment are theoretical risks? And I think the answer was clear. You have a vaccine which appears to be 95% effective, appears to be that effective in people who are over 65, as effective in people in preventing severe disease. And to date, we have no clear evidence, at least in this trial, that there was any serious side effect in tens of thousands of people. So I think it was a pretty easy decision to do that. What happens next is going to be the hard part. I think you said it. The CDC is going to be meeting on Sunday to vote on whether or not they too agree with what the FDA is going to do, which tells you the FDA is definitely going to say something by no later than Saturday. So I think this vaccine then is probably going to be going into people's arms as early as very early next week. And I just wish we had more doses.
Well, the sticking point really at the meeting yesterday for many of the people who either voted no or abstained was about the age that might be included in this emergency use authorization, starting at age 16. Now, Dr. Fauci was actually just on a Journal of the American Medical Association live stream where he noted there's not much different biologically between somebody who's 16 and somebody who's 18. But I talked with a lot of those members who voted no who were worried there just weren't enough data in people who are 16 and 17 years old. What's your take on that whole debate?
You know, it was a trial of 44,000 people, not 440,000 people. So it's true that when you look at these subsets, say, 16 to 17-year-old or 18 to 19-year-old, if you take those little subsets, there aren't a lot of patients. But all the trends were in the division, in the way of protection. I mean, it was pretty clear that this worked. And I think that, there isn't much of a biological difference between a 16 and 17-year-old and an 18 and 19-year-old. And one of the arguments that was made by those who opposed this were, it's just not that bad of a disease in young people. But you could make the same argument for the 18 to 19-year-olds. So I really didn't understand that. The thing that I think people got hung up on, because it wasn't clear as we were doing the voting, was whether there would be an option for a second vote, where you could then vote yes for 18 and over. And I think people thinking there might have been a second vote were willing to vote no on that because, frankly, it's an ununderstandable vote given where we stand right now with this pandemic.
That is something I heard directly from some of those folks as well. They did expect to get to vote on 18 plus and said if they had been, they would have voted yes. Another thing that came up yesterday where there was a debate, and I think you differed a bit from the rest of the committee, was on what to do about the situation with people with severe allergies. Because of those reactions and a couple people in the UK, they have recommended people who have a severe allergy to food or to drugs should not get the Pfizer vaccine right now. What do you expect that the FDA will decide on that population? Because as you point out, that's tens of millions of people in the U.S. who carry an EpiPen.
Right. And also the CDC is also going to weigh on this and what they think are precautions or contraindications to the vaccine. I wish we knew more about those patients so that we could make a more thoughtful recommendation. I mean, the real question is, for example, are people who are allergic to peanuts or are people who are allergic to eggs who carry EpiPens, are those people at a greater risk of having a problem with this vaccine than the general population? We don't know that yet. And so by making this sort of blanket recommendation, that no one who's had any sort of history of severe allergy should get this vaccine, you're talking about tens of millions of people. And I just think we need to know more about this. I suspect what's going to happen over the next couple of months is we're going to get more and more data from the UK, more and more data from the United States. And hopefully we'll start to look at people who do have those kinds of severe allergies to eggs or peanuts to see whether there really is an increased risk with this vaccine.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.